Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Career Conversations with Oyin Hosty. This is a self-help and career development podcast that inspires us to fearlessly pursue our dreams and have successful careers. Each episode, we feature me having authentic conversation with established career professionals. They will share their journey, experience, and practical tips with the purpose of impacting and equipping us to improve our personal and professional lives. Joining me today is Mayowa Adegoke, a seasoned journalist, international reporter, and media professional with experience in Africa and Middle East news reporting and storytelling. Mayowa believed in the power of her competencies and asked a Nigerian-based employer to grant her the rare opportunity of relocating to the United Arab Emirates with her job. Bold move, right? Mayowa will be sharing with us the competencies she exhibited for her employer to believe in her abilities, how she was able to pull it off, and so much more. Thank you so much, Mayowa, for coming on board.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's get into it. Can you tell us about your career journey?
Career journey. What a long journey it has been. So, as a professional broadcaster, I said my journey started in 2013 when I joined Channels TV. But my career as a media professional, I would say, started even way back in university. So right from time, I guess owing to my father's career as a journalist, I think that really influenced me. And from the get-go, I knew that I wanted to go into mass communication. So back in uni, I was very active and very involved because this was where I wanted to be. This wasn't a case of, I didn't get the course I wanted to study. This was where I wanted to be. And this was the course I wanted to study. So right from uni, from the days of industrial attachment, my first industrial attachment was at Channels, and the second was with another media outfit. So pretty much I've been quite involved right from time. And so far, it's been a wonderful journey, really. I'd talk a lot about my time at Channels, because when you talk about professionally, that's when I really grew. So with Channels, I started as a web editor and blogger, pretty much creating content for the website. So a few months down the line after I joined the company, I got auditioned for TV, and then I started presenting. And I started presenting the entertainment news program. From then on, things started picking up. At some point, I was juggling different things. So early on, I was doing the whole web editor thing. I was presenting the show. I was going out to cover events, interviewing people, So there were times when I could resume work like 7 a.m. and I don't get home till like 12, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., only to start, the same cycle the next day. But because, this is what I love doing anyway, you take it all in good stride. And so from there, I grew from presenting, and then I started producing as well. And then before I left Channels TV Lagos, I still checked out the list of being a newscaster because I eventually grew to the point where I started casting the news as well. So I think career-wise, it's been quite an interesting journey. There's a mix of social media management, web content creation, TV presenting, TV producing, newscasting, voiceover, script writing. I mean, when you talk about just anything content, audio, visual, yes, I think I've earned my stripes in that line. So pretty much, I think that sums up career journey.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. You recently moved to Dubai, and I know that you kept working for your current employer in Nigeria, which is Channels. To me, that seems like a rare arrangement. Can you share how you were able to achieve that?
So It was actually like a very interesting thing to happen, really. So I moved to Dubai because I was planning my wedding, and my husband is based in Dubai. So I knew that I was going to have to move to be with my husband. And then on the question came as to what happens to my career, how do we go about it? And I'd come to Dubai at least twice before the wedding on holiday and that helped me to sort of understand the country, understand the terrain. So my coming to Dubai on holiday, as much as I was having a great time and bonding with my fiance and his family, I was also, laying the groundwork, trying to understand, how would this work when I move finally? Can I actually pull it off? So my first visit, actually, it coincided with the visit of Nigeria's Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo. So he had come for an event to meet with investors. And, I was able to report that for channels while on holiday. So I was on holiday, I called them, oh, this is happening. So I was able to file a report so that was like a test run of some sort. And there were other things that had happened as well. I was able to interview some people, do some interviews for like entertainment as well, to understand the Afrobeats culture here. Like I'd done some work, you get. So this was already building my portfolio, so to speak. And I was already building some kind of evidence, so to speak, for lack of a better word to use, that this can actually work. Because I planned on putting a proposal to my company to say, you know what, I'm moving to Dubai, but I believe that we can do something from Dubai. Okay, so it wasn't so difficult because then again, Channels TV is already established in places like America, London, South Africa. So, hey, why not Dubai? And you know that there's a lot of interest within the Nigeria UAE corridor. You have a lot of people moving between this, moving along this corridor. There's a lot of trade, a lot of tourism. So it would be good actually to establish presence here. And so why not? And then I started, putting the groundwork together. I put together a proposal. I put it to my company, and that's how it started. So coming here, when I eventually moved, I still moved down as a full staff. And I guess because the company really trusted me, believed in me, and because they're just fantastic like that. Anyway, so when I moved here, I was still a staff. I'd not resigned, even though we were already discussing a different kind of arrangement. But all in all, I think all my years in Channels TV Lagos, all the experience I had gained, of course, it would be good to mention that I also won the Chairman's Award in 2015. So, all the track record, the growth, all the training that I had gained was able to sort of speak well for me when the time came, because it's a big deal to say you're going out to a different country solo and you want to take the company's name with you. You want, so that's a huge investment. That's that's them trusting you with their brand and with their integrity. So I think my years in Channels TV Lagos, all the work I'd put in was now speaking well for me when it really mattered the most. And I believe that I'd also proven myself in all those years for them to say, you know what, she can do it. Because if they didn't believe I could do it, I don't think that they would invest that much in me. So yeah, that definitely one of the highlights of my career has been moving to Dubai and representing Channels TV.
Okay. I agree with you. If they don't believe in you and if they don't believe that you have value to offer, nobody will put themselves, their name and their reputation in the line for anybody. So you've sort of started to touch on what I want to know. So I want to know what sort of skills and competencies you exhibited for your stakeholders to completely believe in your ability, that you are able to you're able to continue working for channels even though you are not physically in Nigeria, and to still be a part of the team. Can you just, highlight on that more?
I think the first thing, I don't know if I should call it a skill, but the first thing is, see, you have to love this job. Honestly, like, and it's not just about media. I think whatever job you're doing, whatever path you find yourself on, whatever career you're pursuing, it has to be something you love, because honestly, when you love it, like when you really, really love it, it always tells. There's always a difference, right? So I believe the first ingredient for success is to love what you're doing. That's not to say that there won't be hard days. That's not to say that there won't be days where you feel like, you know what, I'm tired, I want to give up. There are days when, even when I was in Lagos, when I was, growing in my career, there are times when I wasn't satisfied with everything happening, with my career. There are times where I felt like, oh, this should be better, or this should be better. There are times I felt like, you know what, I'm tired, I'm done, I want to give up. But did I love my job? Do I love my job? Capital YES. And so when I feel like that's the ultimate foundation, because when you love it, you want to improve. When you love it, you're always looking to think out of the box. What else can we do? When you love it, you will work under pressure. You will deliver under pressure. And there's a lot of pressure in media because things are happening like fast, fast, fast. There's a race to break the news. So when you talk about skills, number one, I think you have to be diverse. You have to be multi-skilled to be able to give more. Can you analyze issues, right? What are your interpersonal skills? Because that comes to play when you're interviewing people. And interviewing people is a major part. So you also have to know how to ask the right questions, because asking the right questions will ultimately get you the right information or even exclusive information. And you know that, that's one major part of this job, getting exclusives, right? So having the love for the job, always looking to improve, thinking outside of the box, being innovative, creative, in such a way that you're always new, right? So your writing skills, your interview skills, all these things, right? They play into, and then you have to know how to do as much as, like, if you can do everything, better for you, right? So the world is fast moving to a place where, in short, it's already happening in many places. It's just not 100% yet when it comes to the industry, where one person is going to be the camera, the videographer, is going to be the scriptwriter, they're going to be the editor, they're going to be the producer, they're going to be the reporter or presenter. Like, you're going to be a one-man or one-woman crew. It's already happening. And so if you challenge yourself and look at, and if that's your goal, I want to be able to know as much as I can. I want to know how to handle the camera. I want to know how to do my voiceovers. I want to be a better script writer. I want to know how to, even your English, how you speak, how you deliver, your presentation skills. When you're looking to improve in all these things, definitely you're going to be set apart people will just see that this person is different, and definitely that helps you, and that helps you in your career growth.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure media newbies will like all the things they'll like all the things you stated. So now that you are an international reporter, how's the journey been so far? Can you share the impact of the decision on your career?
Oh wow! Honestly, I tell you, this is what I needed for my career. I don't think I've ever shared this with anyone else, like outside of my personal circle. I think outside of my husband, really, or maybe a few friends. So, I was in Lagos, and at some point, I remember, say around 2017, maybe 2016, 2017, I was getting dissatisfied. You get to a point where all your dreams sort of have come true. One of my childhood dreams was to work for Channels.
Oh, wow.
Channels was like my favorite TV station as a kid. I used to race home with my brother to catch the children's belt for 4 p.m. I don't know if anybody remembers. Channels used to show cartoons around 4 p.m. back then. So I remember racing home with my brother to catch the cartoons. So that love for Channels TV has always been, and of course, Channels has always been number one in Nigeria. So growing up to know that I wanted to go into that industry, naturally, you want to be a part of the best team. And so Channels was that team. And so number one, so Channels is your dream TV station. You want to work there. I worked there. From being a writer to becoming a TV presenter, to becoming a producer, to becoming a newscaster, check, that was done. Knowing people, if that's part of one of the things you desire, having contacts, knowing the who is who, being able to enter the VIP parties, and if that's part of what people aspire to, check, like, you get what I mean. Having a reputation, which was important for me. It's not just about earning a salary, okay? Building a reputation, building your personal brand, check, okay? So you get to a point where it's like, okay, what's new? And humans were never fully satisfied. Once you sort of check one thing, then it's like, what's the next thing? There's always a need. There's always that desire to conquer more. So I was at a point where I was getting dissatisfied. Like, I felt like, okay, I'm just stagnant. I'm just, okay, now I'm doing all these things. What's new? What's the new challenge? What's the new height? It'd have been great to go back to school, but for a number of reasons, I wasn't able to do that because the school I really wanted to go to was very expensive. This was outside Nigeria. So very expensive. I didn't have the money for that, and I wasn't willing to settle for anything else. So I couldn't go back. I couldn't say, okay, I'm going back to school. I'll come back now. So I just kept on working. And then, when marriage came into the picture, relocation came into the picture, the opportunities to represent Channels came into the picture, this was what I really needed. Honestly, the exposure, just the change of environment, you begin to think differently because now you are in a place like Dubai where it's a pot of different things. There are many nationalities here. Like it's compare it to being in America or London, because that's the same standard they operate with here. So you've got companies from across the world here, international companies. So it doesn't get any more international than this.
True,
you understand? So, the exposure, you go out to events, you see how your colleagues are doing things. It's like the new ideas. Your mind just begins to work like 247, like, oh my God. So just number one, I think for me, the exposure, now your mind begins to think new possibilities. You begin to, wow, you know what? We can actually do this. Oh, wow, maybe let's try this. So that for me, very important.
I wanted to know, do you ever feel the imposter syndrome effect? The you're not good enough, self-doubt, especially when you are in a new terrain, a new environment. Did you ever have that kind of a feeling? And if yes, you do, how did you deal with it?
Yeah, I think, for the first time, it was a weird feeling because I'm not the type to feel that way. My husband sometimes says I'm proud, especially when it comes to my career, because I am like that confident. When it comes to my career, trust me, I can walk into any gathering, I can talk to anybody. I'm very confident in what I've built for myself. That's not to say that I'm at the pinnacle. I'm still learning, I'm still growing. But so far, yes, I can really dust off my shoulders and brag a little bit about what I've learned so far. But at some point, there was a season, after I had moved here, and I think it's because of some other personal stuff, coupled with the fact that work was sort of delayed. So for a while, I wasn't working, and I wasn't used to not working, right? So I'm coming from Lagos where work is like everything. We're working morning till night, sometimes you're working 7 days a week. So I was used to work. And then coming here when my schedule had to change, and then I wasn't working for a while, I wasn't used to that. So when it was time to pick up work again, I felt that like, oh my, am I sure I can do this? Which was weird. That was very unusual because what I've been doing for almost 7 years, you've been doing something for 7 years. As in, I've invested, and 7 years is just, I feel like I've done 14 years. If I have to count the man hours I've invested in my career, I'm sure it's not anything less than maybe 10 years, right? So I've told you days of working 18 hours, 16 hours, and that's like regular. So it was a weird feeling to have, to ask myself, like, am I sure I can do this? But, in that season, I just learned that you just have to put one foot ahead of the other, right? One step at a time. And then I must emphasize the role of mentors, the role of support systems. So don't think that, oh, you know it all. Always reach out. So I've got great colleagues that I will reach out to. Even now, even when I feel like, oh, I've got this, I still reach out to them. I say, oh, please take a look at this. So I must mention people like Dan Ikpoe, who's with BBC Lagos now. I must mention people like Henry Ogunjimi, who used to be at Channels Lagos, but now he's a filmmaker and all-round media guru. He's based in New York. I would mention someone like Jim Stenman, who I met here in Dubai. Jim used to work with CNN. Now he also has his own media company. He does a lot of stuff with Reuters. So Jim Stenman, these are like three main people that have been just fantastic support systems for me. So definitely, when funny feelings come, you just have to take one step at a time and find your way out of them. And you just believe in yourself, do whatever it takes to get out of that phase.
All right. So almost the last question, but I wanted to ask, is there anything you want to add that we've probably not covered? If there's anything you can.
Yeah. So this is one very important thing for me as a person. And for me, my journey really, as much as I never downplay hard work, I never downplay putting in the hours, I never downplay starting small, right? All these things, starting small, whatever small means. Small could be small salary, small could be small position, small could be small anything. I don't joke with these things. But honestly, Oyin, I must tell you, at the top of it all, it's God's favor. I cannot lay credit. I cannot say, oh, I'm taking credit for anything. Even my joining channels is another testimony, on its own. My growth in channels is a testimony on its own, right? The opportunities I've gotten, they're testimonies on their own. I look at, so I clocked a year in Dubai just a few days ago.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah, so it's already 1 year in Dubai. And I look at the growth, the speed of that growth in 1 year. Only, trust me, this is not any... Yes, man would work, you put in your effort, but it is God's grace, it is God breathing on it that makes it distinguished. Honestly, I must tell you. Even my mentor, Jim Stenman, was just telling me a few days ago, like, he's also impressed with, just how far I have come. Oh yeah, I'm not the best scriptwriter, I'm not the best voiceover, I'm not the best anything, right? There are people out there who are better than I am. But somehow, I just keep hitting those milestones. So if there's anything I want to add is, yes, it's good to be a hard worker. It's good to be dedicated. It's good to put in your best. But more than anything, at the end of it all, it's the grace of God that makes that difference. And that's my story. It's the grace of God that has made a difference for me.
Anyways, thank you so much, Mayowa, for joining me. We've come to the end of the conversation. It was lovely to have you come to share your experience, and I'm sure that, a lot of people will just strength from your story. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day.
Thank you for having me. And
thank Thank you so much for sticking till the end. I appreciate the time you have decided to spend with me. Kindly share this podcast with your friends, and if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please take a minute to drop a review. I would personally love to hear from you. Feel free to send me an email or DM with your comments, suggestions, and feedback. Till next time, never stop believing and pursuing your dreams. You will realize it takes you to take a bet on you.